He's on the Mount Rushmore of rock and pop stars. Without him, no us.
After a show in Clear Lake, Iowa, Buddy Holly and two other touring musicians were driven to Mason City Municipal Airport. Holly had chartered a 1947 single-engine Beechcraft Bonanza. It could carry 4 people, 3 passengers and a pilot. Snow was falling as they taxied down the runway. The plane took off just before 1 a.m. It turned northwest and disappeared into the night. The wreckage was found the next morning. Buddy Holly's plane had come down just 6 miles from the airport. It had hit the ground at speed, clipped a wing and cartwheeled 500 feet across a cornfield before finally coming to a rest. All aboard were killed.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin. 3 young singers who soared to the heights of show business on the current rock and roll craze were killed today in the crash of a light plane in an Iowa snow flurry.
The reaction to Buddy Holly's death was just, I think, complete shock. He was just far too young. It was just an absolutely terrible tragedy.
People talk about the 27 Club. Buddy Holly was 22 when he died. He'd already written a dozen immortal pop hits, but he had so much more to come. And I think really the significance of it gathered over time.
There was sort of a mass outpouring of grief amongst his audience. And you know, I think even in the wider world to Holly's death, he was a young man who'd been hugely popular and his life had just been snuffed out so quickly and without any warning at all.
It ended the rock and roll era. You know, this was 1959. It was the turning point of this boom in American music, which has, you know, really taken the world by storm and changed everything and set the journey for where modern pop and rock would go.
Buddy Holly's last tour had been advertised as the Winter Dance Party. But for the musicians involved, it was anything but fun. They called it the Tour from Hell. Concerts were arranged in 24 cities in as many days. But the schedule was a nightmare. Hundreds of miles separated the gigs. Buddy Holly and the other acts were forced to zigzag back and forth across the Midwest, hour after hour, day after day.
The bus they were using for the Winter Dance Party tour was breaking down. It was freezing conditions. It was said that someone on the bus has actually got frostbite and had been hospitalised. And I think Buddy Holly just thought, you know what, we need a break from this. I'm going to charter a plane. We can get to the next venue early. We can get some washing done, have a bit of a rest, and not have to deal with this kind of awful, cold, long bus journey.
It's one of those sliding doors moments. Big Bopper only got on the plane because he had flu. Waylon Jennings gave up his seat to him because the man was ill. They thought, let's get him to the next place, he can get some rest. Ritchie Valens tossed a coin with one of the other members of the band to see who got the final seat. Ritchie Valens won and actually said at the time, that's the first time I've ever won anything in my life. So it's this awfully poignant, tragic accident that Buddy dies in.
Buddy Holly was a trailblazer who made it to the top through his talent and determination. His life was short, but the shadow it cast was long. Without him, our world today would sound very different.
He's on the Mount Rushmore of rock and pop stars. Without him, no us.